See the green garbage can there? There's a lot of bags of poop there. They better not wait till the spring when it gets hot to empty that. And I'm going to walk a bit before I change one of the cables for my batteries that easily broke. That was from Canadian Tire. When you loosen it, tighten it, loosen it, tighten it. It's just really cheap composition of metals, let's call it. And I want to say that, I mean, again, I can explain that there are a little bit of conspiracies against me based on some data, and I don't need to prove them, because conspiracies against an Homo sapien will exist because of HSD. And, I can't argue with that all the time. I have to bring awareness to the species I share DNA with about what HsD is, so that they can just start collaborating instead on what's really causing the Anthropocene. So, like for example, like I've done a couple of refreshes this weekend. This is the second time I've noticed this, looking for that though, or notice it because my eyes happen to be there, and noticing views on recent videos of mine going down. And it's not the first time I see this. Now, is it possible that Alphabet Incorporated, Google, YouTube, who I, film videos about, actually, manipulate the analytics as a way to keep my videos down, even though I share them a lot, because I don't allow ads. And I've been telling you for years, I'm not going to go against what my theory says is bad by saying, oh, please subscribe if you like this video, or this makes sense to you, write a comment or notification, whatever. And that would work, by the way. I would get more views. But it also makes me a hypocrite, right? It kind of makes me manipulate your thinking. I want you to do your thinking for yourself. If such a thing is possible at this level of HsD among the 99.9995% of you. And there's one particular video, because Alphabet Incorporated is in the United States, it says, oh, is this a Freudian slip for manifest destiny? Which is a supernatural based disconnection from reality that makes people believe that they are part of a tribe or of peoples that have godly special privileges and a destiny of whatever. And it's ridiculous, right? It's the form of it's a form of HsD, right? It's based on a lot of different kind of syndromes merging in, such as the supernatural. Because every religion is a syndrome of domestication that devolves your mind in a measurable way, and it is measurable. You can do the research and measure this, even with MRIs. Okay, but I will never be able to enter a program that does that, especially in the US. So that video I'm talking about is 20 seconds long, I think. And I didn't watch it myself with my other YouTube channel. So it's at 0. And I didn't put a like or anything. So it's at 0. I don't even think I rewatched it with my own channel signed in that it's posted on. Now that's really weird that there's 0 views. 0. And again, it could be no ads. You don't watch it once and get it going, or you don't share it anywhere, or I didn't do the tag, manifest destiny, whatever. It's still pretty suspicious. 0. A lot of people spend time online, including myself sometimes, when I'm just in leisure mode in the evening watching short videos that are silly. But this is not silly. This is, it just makes people think. Is this one of the elites in the States that on the news had a Freudian slip that shows he believes that he is part of these special divine people tribes that has cause to get away with doing these atrocities against other people that would also be part of the creation of his creator myth stories, which of course would mean he wouldn't go to heaven, or he wouldn't have a special place. Because if you have a God that gives you special privileges for eternity, for killing innocent children, then, you know, maybe your God is actually the devil in disguise and you don't know it. Or maybe you suffer from HsD. Now, I'm doing a lot of attempts to share even with a relative, hoping that that relative will do something about it. My French vlog about the strikes in Quebec with the education and the, you know, the nurses and you know, I've collected the data and I've got some data of myself working for 2 different school boards where, you know, well, first of all, Radio-Canada doesn't allow comments, and a few other channels. I think Ici Québec, I've shared it a few places there. There's one, Le Devoir, which has a longer interview with a lady related to teachers' unions. I agree with a lot of what she says, pretty much. Except that, you know, she doesn't want to lose her job by saying, you know, we have helped to create this, and we need to reinvent ourselves more than just getting more funding. For example, when I'm in these Quebec school boards and I disagree with the other adults, and what they do is they shun and victimize me, and yet they go on strike years later and say, this lady, right, the union lady said, the teachers are doing this. They you know, they know they're failing in these ways and they're turning against each other because, you know, they're unhealthy and they're stressed right now. Well, it's happened to me, and I want to share my own more advanced paradigms than you guys, so you succeed at your solutions. But nobody comments on this, and they disappear, my comments, including with, I believe, for the second time, it may soon disappear with Le Devoir. And I was the only comment the second time I put it in. I say, isn't that strange that I have this opinion about it from the inside, and that somehow, you know, nobody will get in touch with me or and then of course there's teachers who have written comments and these comments disappear too, because they're, you know, they're afraid to lose their pension or whatever. So, you know, how much do they care about their kids or just lowering their stress for the rest of their lives? Same thing, nurses. So none of the teacher Facebook groups, including the ones related to, you know, l'Outaouais, accepted me on their Facebook group. And it took a long time for one of the nurse ones to accept me. And I'm gonna go see if my comment is still there. And then I'm taking screenshots and I'm saying, this is, you know, Quebec has lost the French word for accountability. I think they will lose the French word for hypocrisy soon, because they don't want to admit that they're like that. There'll be a bunch of screenshots that prove it. And it's sad. Like one time I asked a nurse, because I was really pissed off with these so-called doctors, said, I want you to be, they won't let me record their failures with a recording. It's strange, because I'm an Homo sapien. You can record me in everything I do. In fact, I beg for it most of the time, because I don't wear a mask, and you hate me for it. And so this nurse, you know, she kind of agreed with me, and she kind of saw what it's like when I interact with the doctor. And of course, trying to take this health authority to court is, she would be an important witness. And but would she show up, or would they allow it or block it? And would she be brave enough, if she really cares about the culture, the system, you know, the profession she's in, to say, yeah, this guy had the confidence to transparently describe his situation where we're failing him, and it has nothing to do with our salaries not being high enough. It really doesn't. It's more about not being client-centered and also being domineering. Because, you know, that's how you're coping with your stress, is having power over others, including in the education system. Where, you know, educators aren't that great with the kids that I notice around the world. And sometimes it falls under the, you know, the abuse. Now, when, let's say, a teacher goes in the news that they're caught, let's say a gym teacher, I've heard these stories, for like 8 years might have had these cameras set up, you know, in the change rooms. And really, why does the RCMP or whatever police force in charge not investigate the rest of the school? Come on. And why do organizations like the one in BC, which gives me crap, and I haven't posted the screenshots of our communication yet, for wanting better, at the risk of them deciding unethically to fail me a criminal record check, which would put them in a lot of trouble, because then we're going to court. and then it would come out, hate crimes or discrimination against an Homo sapien, because there's no reason to fail me other than you don't like that I'm calling you on how poorly you're doing your job. So if they hear of a teacher, like the principal in Ladysmith, come on, the one Mr. Street, like, you gotta ask, you gotta investigate. If you give criminal records check, you say, well, we're a organization-based organization, so if I don't like your tone with me in the emails, I can contact whatever organization you might be associated with or plan to. And it kind of looks like they already did, like all of them that I might in the future contact. And same like Make a Future or the BC Ministry of Education may have done this. I seem to be on some blacklist, because even when I contact people for the first time that are in desperate need of things that I do qualify for, it's like, oh, we're not going to hire you. All right, if you say so. If you say so, I'm sure if you get more money, suddenly you're going to hire me. It's not about that, right? It's not about winning at your strikes. It's about looking at yourselves in the mirror. Because all you're doing is just, you're going to fail at what you do with just more stuff in storage, pretty much. If we give you more money, it's pretty much what it is. Not only do you not put children first or patients first, you don't even put your own health or your own education first. You really don't. So, and that has to be addressed. And a lot of it is explained with my theory on HsD that shows how you can't self-correct anymore because you can barely access the higher functions of your brain. So this organization in BC or other provinces, if they hear that bad behaviors have happened for years with a teacher or principal or whatever, based on your mission statements of what that should look like, the good behaviors, is you got to investigate the whole school. Because it's impossible, and you got to bring in like polygraphs and voice analysis machines. It's impossible that other teachers didn't look away. Like the ones who claim to agree with me, or nurses that claim to agree with me, but in a way that only talks the talk, but doesn't walk the talk. I'm sorry, but if at any point I hear you say that you consider yourself superior to me as a medical care provider, or an educator, is the only proof that I can give you that is totally sufficient, but I can give you a lot more. But you will give me this evidence so easily by just interacting with me, or my seeing you work, is that you don't walk the talk. So you have to address this as teachers or nurses or whoever's on strike. We have to stop just complaining. Because when we get more money, we will still not be any closer to healing a totally broken system if we're not even at the stage that we're ready to agree that we were part of the problem all this time, because majorities win. Stop pointing the finger at administrators of schools at the top who have no power to control how you act poorly at work during the day and who aren't even aware of it. So the majorities need to change. The majorities don't need money to change. If you already own a mirror and a diary, ask yourself questions as you're looking at yourselves in the mirror and write in your diary.